off and hello, welcome to Sandra's political coffee house, environmental coffee house. Got a lot to do today. I am reading you my newest Substack, and welcome everybody that's joining. I'm trying to see who's here because I really we're having a drive to subscribe to this space TV, and I'll put all the links in there. It's really important. We are doing really well, and I don't know why I can't seem to come up with it on my channel to see the live stream on here because I want to see what's going on. But it's great to see you guys. I'm going to read my Substack today. It's a very important one. And I am live on my channel. Oh, I'm live. I see it. Okay. I'm live on my channel. All right, great. And we have to wait for people to join us, which I'm sure people will join us, but not many have. Hello, Kim. Hello, everyone. I don't know why I only have one person in my chat, but hey, it's great to see you. Let me play with my my camera, my thing a bit and get this going here. All right. So, I've been writing on Substack and I am really enjoying the process. It's a wonderful process, and I see my friend collapse. Ian has joined, and Alex. Okay, people are joining. I really am going to read this Substack because it's important. And I have made some links between Jeffrey Epstein, oligarchs, and Overshoot. And Overshoot is where we are using things, we are using our resources faster than the earth can replenish them, although the earth is not replenishing things. So, but it's important. And I'm really, really glad that people are here. We have a lot to go, but we do have this drive, and please subscribe to this space TV. There's a lot of good things happening. As always, when you're building something like this network, which the people that are involved in this are working so hard. They're working so hard to build a, progressive network in solidarity with a bunch of wonderful people. I don't know if I have the graphic. Well, I actually do. I have the graphic. So let me put the graphic up so you can see this. Oh, I don't have it in the right format. All right. Anyway, I'll have all of that stuff, but people are joining. Good. Okay. I am taking this Substack really, really seriously. And this is it. This is it. And but I'm gonna, to look at it, I want to read it. And I want to make sure it's big enough so you can see it. I hope that's happening. Oh, is it big enough so you can see it? Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, there we go. I'm going to read it. And there's going to be a lot of things in this that some of you may not understand, but most of you will, on my channel anyway. And on this space, it's always a learning experience that I want for you. It's so, so important. Here is my my graphic. Let me pull up the graphic because I have two of them. I'm going to pull up the graphic that I have from there's the graphic I have on Substack. Jeffrey Epstein, oligarchs, and Overshoot. And you'll see how I have Epstein represented. And we're also going to talk about this pathetic Coalie. I don't know if you understand what that is, but we'll see it. Okay. Let me get started though, because people are joining us. So here we go. It took me a few days, as everything, it takes me time to read, to write. I'm a conscientious writer. I I don't take it lightly. Only this time because I'm not in Florida and I didn't send my mother the I didn't send her the version to edit, and you know what? I really miss that. My 91-year-old mother, who is absolutely wonderful, is, somebody who well, she helped me, and it was great when I was in Florida writing, she was helping me. It was pretty cool. So, let's get started with this. Jeffrey Epstein, Oligarchs, and Overshoot. And if you notice, well, this one, there's a reason why What Me Worry, Alfred E. Newman is in here, but every single thumbnail I will have Rod Serling in from now on because we definitely have crossed the line. We are definitely in the twilight zone. So here we go. Sit back, take a little sip of whatever. Let me read it, and then we're going to talk about some other things. Every time Jeffrey Epstein comes up in serious political or ecological discussion, someone asks the same question. Well, what does that have to do with climate change? Well, taken literally, nothing. Epstein did not drill oil, write emissions rules, or sit at COP summits. But focusing on literal causation misses the point. Epstein matters because he exposes how power behaves when it is insulated from consequences. Overshoot is not just a physical condition, it is a political one. Overshoot means human systems are exceeding ecological limits. Climate change is one expression of those limits. So are collapsing ecosystems, freshwater depletion, soil loss, and mass extinction, as Lyle Lewis outlines in his book, Racing to Extinction, which I have back there. And I've interviewed Lyle 3 times. This is often framed as a population problem or a capitalism failure, but that framing is just too easy. That takes responsibility into the abstract. And neither one will be a top level discussion around the dinner table. In reality, overshoot is driven by economic systems that reward endless expansion and concentrate decision making in very few billionaires' hands. Very few. The people most responsible are also the most protected from the consequences. And as the world is now witnessing, that protection is not accidental. Oligarchs shape the economy by controlling capital, ownership, and political influence. They fund extraction, they delay regulation, weaken labor, and shape tax systems. Their individual consumption is obscene, but the deeper issue is how their investments scale harm across entire societies, with the most vulnerable being harmed not linearly, oh no, but exponentially. Research consistently shows that inequality increases emissions and undermines climate policy. The wealthiest individuals are not only high emitters, they are gatekeepers who decide whether transitions happen at all. Overshoot continues because it is profitable for those with power, and it is demonstrated time and time again that they are depraved. An example is Bill Gates' recent veer from climate issues to tech issues and a what me worry attitude. Of course, it is not lost on those of us paying attention that he was a significant bad actor in the Epstein files. Epstein did not matter because he was unique. He mattered because he was typical of how elite systems protect grotesque insiders. If nothing else, the Epstein files have uncovered such a perversion of depravity that it is mind-numbing. For years, credible warnings were ignored. Institutions shelved deeper looks. Prosecutors like Alex Acosta in Florida behaved in a corrupt manner by letting Epstein essentially off the hook. Prestige laundered dirty reputations into clean ones. Accountability was delayed until it became impossible to ignore, but not without years of unheeded attention on the sidelines by the Cassandras of the world. This is not a moral aside. It's a systems lesson. And what does morality have to do with it anyway? There's nothing moral about Jeffrey Epstein, Oligarchs, or Overshoot. It's the cruelty, right? Epstein, Oligarchs, and Overshoot are all representative of cruelty. The same dynamics that shielded Epstein operate wherever oligarchs' interests are threatened. Climate policy threatens entrenched wealth, even when there are profitable replacements. The business as usual oligarchs would rather float in the status quo. Universities, think tanks, foundations, and policy centers increasingly rely on ultra wealthy donors. Political donors, they rule the country. Then we see research agendas narrow and controlled. Structural critiques are silenced by the powerful because of the power of donations. Climate breakdown, if discussed at all, it is discussed as a technical challenge rather than a political emergency that it is. Overshoot is all but forgotten if understood at all. Ask the man on the street what overshoot is, and you're met with a blank stare. Epstein's documented relationships with academic institutions illustrate how prestige and money interacts. These relationships are not anomalies. They are part of a broader pattern in which institutions lose the ability to challenge power because they depend on it. And I know, I spent my career in higher ed research. Institutions of learning should be challenging the perversion of power at every turn, only they have become perverted fiefdoms in and of themselves. Ecological limits are real. Our planet has boundaries. However, any discussions of limits are often weaponized as a hoax or a communist plot or something in the distant, unimaginable future. Responsibility drifts downward toward the poor, the global south, or the future generations. Meanwhile, extreme wealth, luxury emissions, and capital driven extraction remain largely untouched, if not accelerating. This is how a legitimate ecological concept becomes an ideological tool. Austerity for the many is framed as realism, a goal to be met, while excess consumption for the few is treated as inevitable and somehow justified. This inversion is not accidental. It's a purposeful perversion of reality to suit the 1% and hurt the rest. Epstein represents the 1% impunity, and these oligarchs represent concentrated economic power. Overshoot represents the planetary outcome of both. A system that cannot restrain predation against people will not restrain predation against ecosystems. U.S. citizens are witnessing this with the proliferation of ICE and Border Patrol, both tools of the oligarchs to put the proverbial boot on people living in the U.S. of A's necks. A system that normalizes abuse will normalize extraction, and this system is trying in every way possible. Coalie, anyone? A system that protects wealth from accountability will protect fossil fuel capital from limits. These failures are connected because they come from the same logic, and the bottom line is abuse that's permitted by power. Overshoot will not be solved by voluntary pledges or incremental reforms that leave power intact. It requires structural change. That means breaking down fossil fuel dominance, taxing extreme wealth, dismantling regulatory capture, and restoring democratic control over energy and resources. Sounds like a hopium-soaked dream. Epstein was not a deviation. Rather, the power structures that kept him in place in the shadows and with our eyes wide shut is a warning. If oligarchic impunity remains intact, there will be no meaningful climate action. There will be no energy transition. There will only be collapse that is buffered at the top and brutal everywhere else. And humanity is witnessing this now. The future is not unavoidable. It is being chosen by a pathetic few who hold the capital, who hold the power, and think that they are impenetrable. That's my piece. And my references are right here. And I actually looked to see if Epstein donated to my school, my university, and it did not. So far, I didn't see. There were at Harvard, MIT, the big schools, Ohio University, Bard College, Stanford, and Interlochen of the Arts. So those are what I have. What I have found so far. So that was my article. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it. I really do, because I think it's like super important, the things I'm talking about. And I do have other articles, and we're going to move on because I want to talk about the sickness of Coalie. I also want to talk about the fact that the House passed legislation to accelerate the approval of mining and mineral production on federal land by requiring the Interior Department to submit a list of priority mining projects to Congress and identify which can immediately be approved. The bill, which now heads to the Senate, would codify President Trump's executive orders on domestic mining and hard rock mineral resources into law. 214 Republicans said yes. 10 asshole Democrats said yes, but 195 said no. So we see that there still are sellouts to the environment. And this administration has talked about auctioning off federal lands to the highest bidder. Do you know how fucked up that is, don't you? I hope you do. And I wanted to talk about the Interior Department, the article I have, which is the Trump administration uses a mascot called Coalie to push the dirtiest fuel. But you see, the mining on these lands, for an administration that says climate change is a hoax and, this cold spell is just more proof to the clueless morons that it's cold, so we can't be warming, with no understand at all, absolutely no understand at all of how anything works. I did have a graph, but I don't know where it is to show on this. I wonder if it's on my page. I have so much crap. Oh my God. I don't think I have it, but it was an interesting one. It's okay. We don't have to do that. But before I go into Coalie and what that is, I want to put up something I did this morning too. Another thing that's on my mind is Jeff Bezos, and he's gutted the Washington Post. And in my opinion, MAGA people have absolutely never read the Washington Post because they don't have the attention span nor the IQ to read a paper like the Washington Post was. So they've gutted the international desk. They've laid off all of these writers, all of their reporters. And Jeff Bezos, who is the fourth wealthiest guy in the United States anyway. I don't know if it's the planet. But yeah, who did that? He's killing information. Yep, he's absolutely killing information. Well, he spent $75 million on the farcical Melania movie so he could kiss the rear of President Orange Turd, which I don't understand. Why can't the fourth wealthiest man resist? They did not. How many days was it before the 2024 election where they squashed their support for Kamala's presidency? Would it have helped? I don't know, because I don't know. It's 254 billion, fourth wealthiest. So with all the money that he put into that stupid farcical movie, that really the only people that like that movie are old people. Now, I'm in that category. I am in that category. Older people, but in rural communities, and a lot of old white women. And what I found really funny about that was I read something where this woman was saying, "Oh my gosh, you know, I would love my granddaughter to grow up to be just like Melania." And I'm thinking in my mind, okay, well, you want your granddaughter to grow up to be, and hey, no offense to strippers and dancers. I worked in the industry. But do you want your granddaughter to grow up to be a nude model and a stripper and a grifter and an opportunist like she was and in a pedophile ring? Oh, that's great. Okay. But Bezos spent enough money on that shit where he really could have kept the staff. He could have paid for this whole thing how many times over to keep that paper, but he capitulated. He capitulated like so many of them are. And those universities, maybe some of them are fighting back. I don't understand why they didn't fight back in the beginning. I don't. I don't understand this desire to capitulate. So I want to show you what I made today. And I'm guilty. I do have 3 things that come from Amazon, which I will buy directly from the manufacturer now, which is, and I get my cat food from Chewy when I need certain cat foods. But boycott, delete, erase, ignore, eliminate, forget, because democracy dies in darkness. How it's like a joke, right? We're in darkness because democracy is dying. And I don't think anybody's going to argue with me that we are not authoritarian. So boycott, delete, erase, ignore. Do not watch Amazon Prime. Do not order. And absolutely don't look at the Washington Post because it's just going to be a pretty bad piece of shit. It might even be worse than the New York Post, which is the right-wing paper, which I don't even know if MAGA reads that. Because I honestly think, judging by a lot of MAGA people that I know, they barely can read as it is. So there's my little public service for the day, and I put that up. It's on Blue Sky. It's on my Facebook, our Environmental Coffee House Facebook. Yes, I'm not putting down strippers or dancers. I worked in the industry for a long time. And the last one was bartending. And I've told you the story. When I was bartending at this place, which was 40 miles north of New York City, the Russian mob used to bring in their dancers. They were gorgeous women, but they were under control and they were trafficked, and who knows how old they were. And my friend who was a bartender with me, she would say, she wanted to tell these girls that you're in America now. You keep your money. Don't give your money to them. And I used to go like this. You're going to get them hurt. You don't understand. She was so naive. She was just so naive. So anyway, but I've have experiences that I could just, oh my God. I've gone from hell and back many times. But this is definitely not about that. It's just that Melania, I wouldn't even put it past her that if she wasn't in the clubs in New York and New Jersey back in those days, I wouldn't put it past her. Okay, so now I don't know what was this. I don't know what that was. I don't remember putting that up, so I'm going to get rid of that because I don't know what that was. I don't. But I want to add. I don't want to add that. How do I get it? Stop, stop that screen. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I did it right. Remember, this is not my platform. So I really want to talk about what Coalie is. If you didn't see what Coalie is, I guess Jimmy Kimmel had made a reference to Coalie. I'll put this article up and we'll go through it. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing. I'm going to remove. Okay, I'm going to remove and I'm going to put up this article, which is okay, here we go. It's sick. The Trump administration uses mascot Coalie to push the dirtiest fossil fuels. And I'll add it to the stage. It is sick. It really is sick. I mean, that's why I added it in my article because they're such hypocrites. Climate is a hoax, but here we go. They want it. They're going to do this. So, but coal, the cartoon lump of coal with giant eyes was spotlighted by U.S. Interior Secretary in an X post. Oh, and don't forget, that was the same secretary whose wife was standing behind Trump when he let one loose. And I don't know why it won't come up. Let me see. It's an image. I have the image, and it is an image file. This is Doug Burgum. Here, let me remove this for a second. I'll bring this up. This is Doug Burgum's wife. And Doug Burgum is the Department of Interior sellout. Okay. So from a German thread, translation, one gets the impression that in the US they shoot people to distract from the Epstein files, then decide to release the Epstein files instead to distract from the murders, then arrest a reporter to distract from the Epstein files again. And if that doesn't work, the president just shits himself on camera. I thought that was pretty good. But look at her face. But he's I don't know how she could be married to him. Evil people, evil people, evil people. Okay, so let's take a look at this article and talk about this lump of coal, which coal is really something that needs to be gone. It just needs to be gone, guys. Goodbye, coal. The Trump administration has turned to an unusual weapon in its attempt to resurrect coal mining, a cartoon lump of coal, complete with giant eyes and yellow mining guard called Coalie. Oh, how fucking pathetic. The administration's new mascot, knitted out with a helmet, boots, gloves, was introduced in a seemingly artificial intelligence generated picture posted online by Doug Burgum, Orange Turd's Interior Secretary. Mine, baby, mine, Burgum wrote on X, adding that Coalie will act as a spokesperson for Trump's American energy dominance agenda. Climate activists criticized the latest attempt by the administration to boost the image of the dirtiest fossil fuel despite its effects on the planet and public health, with one critic describing it as one of the most heinous ways to produce energy the world has ever seen. Coalie, whose large eyes and grin appears to invoke a Japanese style of cuteness used in toys and animated characters, is to be an ambassador for the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement, the U.S. government agency responsible for regulating coal mines. So they want to bring coal back. They want to destroy mountaintops. They want to destroy federal lands. They want to. Miners were all set. People that worked in the mining industry, I believe there was going to be a renaissance in West Virginia and the coal towns because of renewables. Say what you want about renewables, because the mining for those rare earths is not a great thing, because as I always say, there's nothing good in energy. Energy is inherently not a good thing for the planet. Be that as it may, we use energy. I use energy. Mhm. I have backup batteries. So that's what they're going to do. These two fucking losers right here. And it'll appear on the website and with an anthropomorphic hunk of carbon, that joyful Coalie. So little kids can walk around and say, my dad's going to go back in the coal mines and get lung cancer in his 40s. Yeah. And it'll just kill the environment even more. So let's see. This is Coal River Mountain Watch. And they're saying that they're opposing this renewal of Alpha Metallurgical Resources Turkey Foot surface mine, permit number, blah, 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 covering 1,085 acres and 11.2 million tons of coal on Coal River Mountain. So look at that. It's just awful, It's really awful. I can't tell you enough. On this Space TV, I may be called political coffee house, but I can never do hard politics because I'm really the only one talking about the EPA and the Department of Interior and all of these things. And so I am environmentally political, and the EPA and all that is political. So there are people that are definitely watching this garbage happening. And but here in December, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection has issued cessation orders for 2 active mining coal mountaintop removal permits operated by chronic violator Lexington Coal Company. Do you know how destructive this is? It's just hideous. It wrecks ecosystems. Where does the wildlife go? I don't even think the people in West Virginia want this shit back. They just don't. But give them some kind of hopium for something different. If this administration had any brains, it would be retraining. It would be they could bring economic development in different ways to West Virginia, really, as a beautiful state. They deserve more than this. They really deserve more than this. So that's what's happening as climate change plunges us deeper into the mass extinction event that we are all living through. And more of my friends and neighbors get sick and die as a result of the activities of the coal industry. I will continue to be haunted by Coalie's twisted grin. Look at that. How pathetic. How pathetic can they be? To try to get children to think that this is good. Black lung disease, nobody really wants it. Gas and renewables and wind and solar are cheaper. Nobody wants it. Even China, who still is in transition, they're building coal, but they're not building as much. They are actually China. If you listen to Antonio talk with me, he knows a lot about what's happening in China. They're leading the way in getting rid of this stuff. They really are. And so if anybody says China bad, no, China not bad. Nope. Black lung disease. Can you imagine? Miners have had to battle with the Trump administration's move to roll back safety protections. That's what they want to do. They want to strip $500 million from the budget of a fund to clean up old coal mines that are hazardous to the environment after they're long abandoned. It's really, in my mind, it's just an assault. It's a terrible assault, as is everything these people do. They assault us every single day. Every single freaking day. The 10 House Democrats that voted in support of this legislation to accelerate the approval of mining and mineral production on federal lands, Costa from California, Cuellar from Texas, Davis from North Carolina, Golden from ME, is that Missouri? Gonzalez from Texas, Gray from California, Horsford from Nevada, Lee from Nevada, Moskowitz from Florida, and Glusenkamp Perez, Washington. They should all be voted the fuck out if you're in their states. They need to go. They need to go. I mean, really, when you think about these are federal lands, these should be ballot initiatives. The American people should be voting on this. It's just awful. It really doesn't take into account the wishes of the majority of people that live there, because the people that live there, just like everything else, they have to deal with this. They have to deal with this, and it's just extremely sad. And again, we see that I'm going to remove that one. And oh, wait, I have to remove that one. We see that, oh, it's show me. We are the show me. Oh, Missouri. ME. Forgive me for being a little ignorant here. Wow. I'm showing myself I should be MAGA. Well, anyway, I do want to talk about this article in Public Citizen that I'm going to pull up also, because these are good articles, and I think that they're very, people don't always get to see them. So let's get this one. Let's get this critical share screen with this one. And their Public Citizen, of course, is a great organization. And no, Poppy, you didn't screw me up. She screwed me up. Maybe. No, you're in Arkansas. You're in Arkansas. Aren't you in Arkansas? No, you're in Minnesota. Forget it. I'm not doxing you. Okay, so Public Citizen says that the critical conflicts, Trump subsidizes dirty mining at the expense of public lands. So here's the key findings, and that's what I will go over with you. The key findings are the Trump administration's working with some of the largest mining corporations. Do I have the article up there? Let me pull the article up there. Okay. Some of the largest mining corporations based in Australia, Canada, Chile, and United Kingdom. See, there's enough shit to go around in all the countries to ramp up mineral extraction on or near millions of acres of Americans' public land. The new gold and minerals rush gives away public lands, skirts environmental standards, overrides tribal interests, and confers massive benefits on Trump insiders and allied billionaires. So 13 companies seeking to mine on national public lands, including several Australian and Canadian corporations. Why are we letting Canadian corporations in when they hate us now? Because we threaten them. Spent more than $8.4 million to lobby the federal agencies in Congress in 2024 and 2025. There's another evil of the times we live in, is lobbying. So the Trump administration's use of taxpayer money to buy ownership stakes in mining projects that the federal government also regulates sets up what else is new? A fundamental conflict of interest, providing incentive for government to push mining without proper environmental, ethical, and community input. Of course. Billionaires and corporate executives have already seen the value of their holdings in mining companies soar over the past year after federal government took stakes in mining firms, leading some corporate execs and directors to sell off their shares and earn millions. So the federal government took stakes in the mining firms. What does that mean? Are we socialist? Holy shit. The federal government is taking stakes? The workers won't get anything. So I'm not going through the whole thing, but this will be in the show notes on my page. Because it's a long one. Yeah. Burgum claims to care deeply about conservation on public lands, but also said they should be used for private profit. There's the biggest problem. Private profit. What did I tell you about the oligarchs? They're destroying everything. He issued permits for more than 200-mile road across Alaska, pristine Alaska wilderness, over the objections of the Alaska Native tribes and hunters and anglers and conservation groups. Mm-mm-mm. The Ambler Access Project. My God, it's going to destroy Alaska, a metal company. And it's a joint venture between Canadian mining firm Trilogy Metals and Australian mining firm South 32 Limited. So what does what happens to the tariffs? The tariffs. And of course, we know the public lands suffer as government pops up these mining companies. And I can't even read it. It makes me sick. It just makes me sick. Ugh. Primary land use in these areas. I hate them all. So you can see this article in definitely in my show notes. And Lisa Murkowski she's still a Republican and she still is a strong supporter of mining. And she doesn't know. She says, oh, well, will government ownership lead to shortcuts and favoritism? We'll see. You know, people in Alaska do get they get money for living there from all of their natural resources that are taken from the state. Yep. So let's see. Here's a table one. They have lots of companies here. All right. Look at that. General Motors, remember in 10/1/25 in Thacker Pass, where Max Wilbert was fighting for years and camping out against doing this on Thacker Pass. And as much as it was wonderful, he lost, and they're going to destroy the desert there with all of its the wildlife losing its habitat like everywhere. Energy Department took a 5% stake in Lithium Americas and a 5% stake in the Lithium Americas GM joint venture. So, my God, are we just a bunch of fucking commies now? Wow, look at that. And then the Pentagon's investing $36 million in Alaska mining by taking a 10% stake in Vancouver based Trilogy Metals. I think this is kind of funny to read. When do we get something out of it? Because all they do is these corporations, the private corporations, they make all the money and they sell it to us fucking losers, because what are we to them? What are we to them? Losers, and make money. So that is actually what they are doing. Here's a billionaire. He made $15 billion. John Paulson, betting against subprime mortgage market in the 2000s, and now he was going to be a Treasury Secretary, but he withdrew his name. But he closed his hedge funds. But he's a loser, and now we have Scott Bessent. Yuck! All right. Well, I'm going to get rid of this one. Yep. I'm going to get rid of this one. And I just want to talk a little bit about the EPA before we leave. And the EPA is, again, well, you know Lee Zeldin. You know that I hate Lee Zeldin. And I think he's a loser and an ass-licking toady. He wants to eliminate the EPA pretty much. He just wants to leave like a symbolic husk of an organization. They don't want it. 66 actions last year to roll back or weaken environmental rules. And it was like one a week. It gets worse. But you see, everything that is always in the mainstream media, you're not going to see all this in the mainstream media. That's why it's important that I cover this on Environmental Coffee House, Political Coffee House, as I cannot stay away from these stories. Somebody has to cover these. It's so important. The Environmental Pollution Agency, which is really what it's going to be, they're messing with our air, everything. These rollbacks are going to expose Americans to dirtier air. Even though Trump said, I want clean air and clean water, he's full of shit because he's a liar. All they care about is money. As I always say, what is the only thing in the natural world that orange turd sees? Is AstroTurf on a golf course. And he's so sick, who knows how much golfing he's actually doing? We don't know. So they had the authority to issue Clean Air Act exemptions for national security. What national security? Such a bunch of crap. So that's for air and water. He's not approving water conduit grants and projects that are in Colorado and in Arkansas. He's imperiling water quality. Oh yeah, the EPA has moved to rescind or reconsider federal limits on PFAS. You know, the things that are destroying our entire bodies. Those persistent forever chemicals. In May, little Nebuchadnezzar Lee Zeldin, he said, let's repeal 4 of the 6 national drinking water standards for these. Why not? Let's just have more in our water. You know, why not? Why not? Because they're going to make more and more plastic, more and more plastic. Although where I live, I'm proposing industrial hemp. And there'll be more on that as my project unfolds. But millions of Americans rely on these water systems, and the PFAS levels are unsafe. We are living in a plastic paradise, and it's not a paradise for our bodies or our pets' bodies or the wildlife outside's bodies. It's a paradise for the oligarchs that own the plastic industry. Yeah. So, and they're lying, of course. They're going to try to lie about it, say they're not doing it, but they're full of shit. And again, they're loosening restrictions on toxic compounds. They are, saying, "Oh, chemicals, go ahead." They're canceling 40 million in grants for scientists studying toxic hazards to children in rural America, like where I live, including pesticides and other potential food contaminants. So where's RFK Jr. and his great food plan when they don't give a shit. They don't. They're moving to revise the rules for evaluating chemical risks under the Toxic Substances Control Act, narrowing the evaluations to specific uses instead of all potential exposures. Oh, Lord. They're going after evidence-based science. Of course, they're destroying science in the United States, and we are going to be the United States of clueless fucking morons. It's already happening. With all the scientists they've gotten rid of in the federal government, they don't all have private jobs. And the private sector, which is, of course, what they want, to deregulate everything and privatize everything, they're not honest. We had some really good checks and balances in this government. And they want to deregulate chemicals like formaldehyde. Oh, yeah. Formaldehyde. And because that's used they want to just put it in their industrial resins. Oh, we can't forget about those. And it's in particle board and even disinfectants. Formaldehyde. Who needs formaldehyde? Do you remember? I'm old. I remember seeing in biology classes things that were in jars in formaldehyde. I don't know. Any of you take biology and all that and see the parts? Oh my God. They're also weakening it on methylene chloride, which is an adhesive sealants and paint removers. There was a ban. Definite in 2024 there was a ban, but of course this administration's delaying compliance because they want to get rid of it. And it's so funny. Again, RFK Brainworm Jr. He works to reduce fluoride. Fluoride, vaccines. I don't know. It just seems crazy. They're against it. Now, fluoride, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist for fluoride. I can't give you the definitive answer on fluoride. You can get it in toothpaste, you can get it in toothpaste and all, but if it benefits people, Trump is going to get rid of it. Mhm. Yep. Everything. And all the harmful chemicals, the EPA has exaggerated risk. Yep, that's how you make America healthy again. Not by clinging to broken systems that fail communities. No, they just want to take everything away. Take it all away. So, we already know about climate. We already know that they're gutting everything. You can't get anything, any information, the same kind of information on any of the websites that we used for graphs and science and looking at our climate. Um, but the EPA, everything they're doing, they want to again cap, say, okay, cars, why not emissions? Why should we cap emissions? They proposed again. I've talked about this before to repeal the 2009 endangerment finding. It's a joke. So they're going to erase all of the federal climate rules at once. So not only are we becoming an authoritarian dictatorship, we are going to be one dirty ass country. We're going back, baby. We're going back. They want to weaken the fuel economy for new vehicles. I don't know yet what the car manufacturers are going to do, because if it's not profitable, maybe they won't do it. People want those things. So there is the thought that perhaps some of that might make a difference. I mean, I don't think all that corn for ethanol is so great, but I think, in my estimation, when you do the cost benefit analysis of electric, hybrid versus full gas, I mean, electric is superior. You don't smell it. They're coming up with ways, these scientists that were working on renewables, and renewable is a strange word too, but I guess it's renewable because when you use fossil fuels, they get used up. I mean, fossil fuels burn, they're done. Energy in the form of an electric car, you plug it in. But the problem right now is that you're going to recharge it, but a lot of the energy grid is not ready for all of this yet, because with the Trump administration, it's never going to be ready. It's never going to be ready. Yep. Plus, they also say, oh, yeah, this is a great one, delay the enforcement regulations on methane. And that's a big one. I could do a whole show on methane in and of itself. Methane is 80 times more planet heating than carbon dioxide. Jennifer and I on our shows used to talk about methane in the permafrost coming from the thawing of the permafrost. But then we look at factory farms and all the methane that comes from the animals. Wow. It is really crazy. Yep. So they're going to delay those enforcements. It's just what you call a mess. A mess. And it's not funny. And Scott, of course, the electricity is for data centers, not for the public. That's what I'm working on here. And I've got good news on my county anyway. I don't think they want the data centers here. I think I've done a very good job, and I have the ear of the supervisor, and things are going well here. We want small businesses, and I've got more information on hemp, and I think hemp farms are the way to go for industrial hemp. And if you want jobs, small processing factories that aren't polluting, there's so many good things to do, and I'm on the forefront here. I'm working my ass off on everything. I'm working my ass off on making it okay where I live, because local action is where it's at. I can't do the big stuff, but I can do this. I can do this. So I've got 5 minutes left. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Let me, all right, let's see. Yeah, it is great to hear. Oops, great to hear. I don't know where your comment went. Nope, I keep screwing this up. It's a different, great to hear. Yeah, I'm working hard on things here locally. And I would I would read you. I won't read you here on this one, but I think it's going good. Again, I'm trying to apply for a seat on the Industrial Development Committee. It's volunteer to be an advisor. But you see, that means on one hand, because I don't want data center, because I have all this I'm going on, I've got to lay low. And so all of the protesting is going to be done by other people because I need to stay credible, and here I live in a very red place. And if I'm out there protesting and doing all this shit, I lose my credibility. And to me, these things are so important where I live to keep these out, to keep us, the Western New York wilds, to keep us from being polluted, to stop data centers, to bring in an industry that fits our farming community, to to lift up the farmers that do grow food for farmers markets, and to do all those things. So I have to be very careful, you know? Yeah. Yeah, baby. I might piss off Billy Ray. Yeah, but you know what? I'm playing the long game. I'm a strategic person. I didn't spend 22 years in higher ed, being a director for 20 of them, knowing, not knowing how to play the game. You want to do something to better your place. It's a cost benefit analysis for me. I've got plenty of people here that are out on the front lines, and even in this county, out on the front lines doing all the protesting, and that solidarity with them. But I need to keep this. I need to be who I am. I even pulled the business card shit with them for my my credibility. That's how important that is to me. This is to me. I may not be able to shit can ice. I may not be able to have any of that, but you know what? There's only so much one person can do. And this person, who is also starting her seeds, who has 7 rescue cats, who has this house and this land that I take care of pretty much by myself. Once in a while, I have my helper, Brandon. I'm doing the channel. I'm writing on Substack. And I'm getting old. I have another birthday coming up, and I am the elder of this space. I am the elder. I am the crone, which is a good thing. And be that as it may, I've got a lot of experience, and I've got a lot of years under my belt, and I am a diehard progressive. And I'll say one thing. Everybody subscribe to this Space TV. It's growing. And there are so many wonderful people that are involved in it. If I could show you the picture one more time of all the creators that are involved in this. I don't know why I can't go. Okay, stop that screen. I have one more. Oh, wait, I don't think this image file. No, I can't show it to you. Anyway, subscribe to this Space TV, because this Space TV is the future. It is solidarity amongst. We have tons of progressive commentators, podcasters, YouTubers. It's growing, and it's getting better. And thanks to Andrea and Matt and Nicholas and all the people that are working so hard to make this work. And I'm really proud to be part of this Space TV and bring my perspective. In the long run, I'm a doomer. In the long run, the big picture is not pretty, but we're living today. I'm alive today. You're alive today. 20, 30, 40. We don't know the years. I don't have a crystal ball, like I say. or my magic fish. But while we're here, I will not go down without a fight. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. I see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm working on a couple of different interviews. Kevin Blanche to talk about nuclear, because Iran might blow us up if Trump, if the elections don't go his way, he might just start a nuclear war, and Iran will bomb us. So there you go. All right. Thanks. I'm done. Over and out. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh, I'm on Looney Tunes channel tomorrow, 2 in the afternoon. I forgot that. 2 in the afternoon. Looney, did you put the link up? I will be with Looney. I will be a guest on. He's our moderator, and he's a lot of people's moderator, and I will be a guest on his channel, 2:00 tomorrow afternoon. All right. Over and out. Ready for the goodbye music. It was great to